Injured after major clashes on the Temple Mount this morning between Palestinians and Israeli police. Jerusalem correspondent Daniel Cohen joins us now with the sky-high tension in parts of Israel as Easter, Passover, and Ramadan converge. Daniel, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Allison. Good morning to all of you. That's right. Jerusalem is on edge this morning. As you mentioned, it is the beginning of Passover at sundown. It's the second Friday of Ramadan, and skirmishes broke out this morning about 6:30 at the Al-Aqsa Mosque on the Temple Mount, with officers entering the compound and clashing there with people barricaded inside. Israeli police reported dozens of people marching in the area about 4 a.m. carrying flags of the Palestinian Liberation Organization, the PLO, and the Hamas terror group. When police showed up to disperse the crowds, marchers threw stones and set off fireworks. Police said they waited for morning prayers to end, and then they went into Temple Mount, and that's when some of the rioters even threw stones at the Western Wall below, also known as the Kotel, the holiest site in the world for religious Jews to pray. The Muslim body that oversees the Temple Mount area said 80,000 people attended the first Friday prayers.
We expected on the first Friday that the number would reach 110 or 120,000 worshippers, but checkpoints prevented the number from reaching the expected number, whether installed at the crossings or on the roads leading to the Old City and the Al-Aqsa Mosque.
Israel has mobilized thousands of extra officers in and around the Old City to keep the peace. Earlier this week, 6 Jews sent tensions even higher when they tried to bring a goat to the Temple Mount for ritual sacrifice for Passover. Police arrested them. They vowed to arrest anyone who tries to bring any animal to the area. Jews are allowed to visit the compound, but they're not to pray or perform religious rituals as part of a very delicate status quo. So this is all happening right now amid the deadliest wave of Palestinian violence in the last 10 years. 14 people have died in 4 separate Palestinian terror attacks. Police officers, Allison, saying they're going to be guarding and watching very closely bus stations, places where people travel, where troops will be heading home from army bases. Also, there will be an added presence at hotels and other sites where Jewish people will be hosting large Seder dinners.
All right, Daniel Cohen, thank you so much, Daniel.
Sure.
All right, as we all get ready for Easter and Passover, which begins this evening, millions of Ukrainians have been forced out of their homes as the war in Ukraine rages into a 51st day today. Pope Francis calling for an Easter Sunday ceasefire. No word if that will actually happen, but back here at home, while all that is going on overseas, crime rates continue to skyrocket across America.
And for more on this, let's bring in Managing Director, Coalition for Jewish Values, Rabbi Yaakov Menken, and Catholic priest and founder of PleadingGrace.com, Father Leo Patalinghug. Welcome to the show. Rabbi Menken, I'll start with you. With the great adversity the world is facing, what is your message this Passover?
The message of Passover has always been about resilience and redemption. That we have to understand that there's an arc to history, and history eventually is always on the side of the just and the good. There's no question that things have moved forward for the world, and that despite all the barbarism and all the evil in the world, those barbarians are now considered the worst of society, and we, the Jews, are still here. So that's it's all about freedom, and it's all about redemption. The Passover Haggadah actually says that in every generation they will stand against us to destroy us, as you were just showing your viewers, that the riot, it's not just a riot against police. Let's not believe the nonsense.
Right.
When you're throwing stones down at the Kotel below, you're hoping to murder Jewish worshipers while they are worshiping. And then you close the segment by pointing out that there's no permission for a Jew to pray in that location. They're allowed to go up there. They're allowed to visit. But heaven forbid they should actually pray, So religious freedom is not their belief in that part of the world, in that part of the Arab world, which is very unfortunate, because here in America you see just the opposite in the Muslim community. But it is what it is, and we are moving in the right direction slowly but surely, and that's the positive message.
Rabbi Menken, Father Leo, great to have you both on. Father Leo, I'm wondering what you make of this ceasefire. The Pope stepping into what's happening in Eastern Europe and saying that we should see a ceasefire on Easter Sunday. Now, and I think this is ironic, but Vladimir Putin claims to be a very religious Russian Orthodox man. Do you think anything will happen on Sunday?
Well, our hope and prayer is that people will actually start taking their faith seriously enough, because faith is all about what's going to happen in the afterlife based on how we're living this current life. And so if people are seriously considering themselves people of faith, then they have to live in a direction of peace. And so the Holy Father is simply reminding people of faith, because Jews, Muslims, and Christians, we are all from the same Abrahamic tradition. We have different views theologically, but we have at its core that God is a God of love, God of peace, and what we do on earth matters in the afterlife.
Yeah. I think it's so important to rely on your faith, especially right now. Rabbi Menken, for those refugees who've had to flee their homes, how can they relate to the Israelites who fled Egypt during the first Passover?
Well, at the same time that those who were leaving Egypt were surely rejoicing, it is still true that they left family behind. Only a portion of the Jewish people were actually redeemed at that point. So everyone had personal loss and personal tragedy. Unfortunately, throughout history, we've seen many times when Jews were expelled from various regions and had to leave everything behind, and always found an opportunity. I mean, look what's going on in America today. America was built by refugees from all parts of the world, of all religions, and the Jewish people certainly played a great part in that. Certainly after the World War II, there's been a tremendous resurgence in the Jewish community, which has been a wonderful thing to behold. And we always have this opportunity to rebuild and move on and make things better than they ever were before.
Father Leo, Easter Sunday coming up this weekend, such an important day for so many people here in this country. And things aren't great in America right now. What are you telling to people that you're in touch with? And what would your message be to Americans and anybody that's watching this morning?
Well, if we're people of faith, then we have to actually practice what we preach. And if it requires us to humble ourselves and to be connected to our brothers and sisters, even if we disagree with each other, then at least we're moving in the right direction, because we all understand that heaven is like this eternal banquet. But if you're sitting next to a person that you couldn't forgive, a person that you tried to cancel, a person that you just in your heart hated, then I guarantee you, you're not in heaven. We have to understand that heaven is going to be a place where people who take their faith seriously do the hard work that God is asking of us.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, we're real news for real people.